Welcome to the Dance Studio Empire podcast, a mix of business strategies, simple tips for studio growth and success, with a touch of inspiration, motivation, plus raw and honest conversations to ensure you are building your studio empire. I'm your host, Jen Dalton, studio owner for 30 years, dance business coach, and author of the book Teaching Dance Beyond the Steps. My business philosophy is creativity is our superpower, and I believe we all have the means and ability to infiltrate this into our studio. Just sometimes we can get too busy, distracted, or overwhelmed to see that. And so this is exactly what I am here to help you do. Okay then, let's do this. Hit that subscribe button, sit back and relax. Now let's get ready to build your dance studio empire. Hello everyone, it is Jen here from Dance Studio Empire, and I'm super excited today because I have my first guest on the show, my beautiful friend Claire O'Shea. Would you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Claire O'Shea. I am also a podcast host from the Assemble Dance Studio Coaching podcast. I have multiple dance studios now, and I coach other dance studio owners to make their business more effective and efficient and grow their dance studio. And that's sort of how Jen and I met many years ago now.
It is. So Claire and I met at a business conference or a dance studio owner conference, probably 10 years ago.
No, it wasn't 10 because that's when I started. So it would have been like maybe 8.
8?
I reckon. Again, we're not very good with the dates.
No, we're not. But she has become a pivotal part of my life, my growth, part of my business. I feel like she's almost part of my family and a very big contribution to where I feel I am today. And I'm also very grateful for her and her input. And so I think she's actually a gun with so many things, including social media, which is not my strong point. And so this is where we complement each other beautifully. And I thought maybe you could do some, let people know what's happening, how to do it.
Awesome. Well, I love social media. I don't know if I like kind of the day-to-day of it, because I think I know I have an addictive personality. So I can find myself just scrolling through reels at an ungodly hour where I should just be sleeping. But I think what I most love about social media is the power it has to get more eyes on your business, and so our dance studios as a result, and the real effect that can have on our bottom line. So Jen and I, if you haven't listened, I think we probably would have already shared a previous podcast about we were together at a conference, and we're in Cairns together at the moment, which is very exciting. Yep. And at that conference I presented about social media, and I touched on what's trending right now, why we need to do it. And I think a big thing I hear from studio owners, and you probably hear about it too, is just sort of this kind of you're just sort of over doing it. Why do we have to keep doing it? It's not like back in the day where you could do a newspaper ad and then you were done.
Yeah. I think too, for a lot of people, myself included, it's not something that I know. It's not something that I've grown up with. It feels it's new, it's hard, it's time consuming.
It's very time consuming.
And for someone, studio owners who have so much on their plate, it just feels like it's another thing. And
it is.
Especially just the whole creative side of it, because we're always creative in all the different areas of our business, and so it's a new thing. So the younger generation, maybe it's part of their language.
Maybe.
But for some who have been around a little bit longer, maybe like myself, it is really new. And so I know the importance of it, but can you tell us why you think it's so important?
Yeah, and I guess we can also touch on today in a couple of strategies to just really get the most out of whatever time that you have on social media versus thinking you have to spend hours a day. So just touching on what you said though about, it's not something that sort of came naturally to you, potentially other people as well. I'm 30, so I'm a little bit younger than you, but Facebook still wasn't a thing until I was in my last year of school. So it's not something I didn't grow up with Instagram and Facebook. It was introduced when I was a young age. But it there was only Facebook around for like 2 years before I started my business. So I started my studio at 19, so I've had my studio now for 10-ish years.
Yeah.
I could see straight away at the start the impact that this was going to have. I had to do less groundwork. I didn't have to walk the streets and hand out flyers. I didn't have to spend all of this money on on newspaper ads. And granted, at the time, you got the most incredible reach on Facebook. If you had 100 followers, you had 100 people seeing your post, where we know that that's not the case these days. And you know what? That's fair enough. Facebook's a business.
Yeah.
But it is something that I think, we can try our best to stay up to date with. And then ideally, if it's something that you hate, not hate, probably, well, maybe hate, and you're not feeling very confident with it, you're not feeling like you're able to get on top of it, and it's just something that's draining you, a big goal for you might be to start to outsource that first.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people, it costs money to outsource.
It does.
So is there any ways you can do that, on a budget or...
Definitely. So when I first started doing that, I did a lot of the content creation element by myself. So I still would record the videos, I would take the photos, I might even write the caption or at least a bit of an idea of what I wanted to, but I would put it sort of all in a folder or on a doc, and then I would have a virtual assistant schedule it all, because I found that to be the really tedious, boring part. So they took over that. It didn't take them very long, but it's just something I could get rid of. And we're in Australia, so wages are quite high, and which is fine. That's just what we have to do. But a virtual assistant, I was spending anywhere, and again, there's some ethical issues, I think, but, between $8 and $15 an hour. But this was someone that was not extremely skilled, potentially new to the VA, thing. And there's a lot of websites and stuff out there that you can find someone, like Fiverr, or there's specific virtual assistant websites that you could do. That would be a way to start on a budget.
Yeah.
Another way I suggest to people is is there a way you can barter? Do you have a marketing person or a copywriting person in your studio as a parent? And whilst, it might seem like a lot, you might be able to negotiate a couple of classes for X amount of hours work a week. And it's so worth it if it's going to take off, it might take them 2 hours, but it might save you 12 hours. It's just because that's what they're skilled in. So I think bartering, and you're not necessarily hey, but it's just something that can happen organically. I, for instance, have a family who came to me and they were just we're just having some financial issues. And so it just happened that week, our cleaner quit. And so I was look, I hope this doesn't offend you, but we're looking, is that something you'd be interested in? I'm happy to pay you a standard hourly rate in sort of a trade-off for classes. And they were fabulous.
Yeah, I've done that several times throughout the years as well. What about senior students? Have you ever engaged any of your older dancers who love it? And
I haven't, but that's not to say it's not a good idea. I would just be very cautious and set parameters. So it might be, and like any new staff member that you're giving access to your social media, it is very forward facing. And so you want to be really sure that you can trust the type of content that they're posting and that they're not accidentally out drinking on a Friday night and posting stories to yours instead of theirs. So, if you're going to do that, I would say absolutely. You might have someone who's really mature, who's really keen, wants to learn. And again, could be a trade-off, could be a traineeship, but you just start slow, you know. So can you show me what post you would create this week?
Yeah.
Okay, now you can schedule it through the software. Okay, now you can have access to X and kind of really start and kind of nurture that relationship like you would with an adult staff member anyway. And then sort of what I then led to do was, I found a teacher who really wanted to do just a couple of extra hours a week. And then it just slowly grew. I could, we were seeing the results of the consistency and the hard work that she was putting into the socials in the numbers of the business. And so I was then able to give her a few more hours. And then now she works full time in the business as a marketing manager / hip hop teacher.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And we have similar as well. So one of our senior teachers also does our social media.
Exactly.
And it's good because it does give another take on someone else's view or ideas or creativity. So, I do find that very helpful as well. And we get other teachers to contribute different things.
Definitely. As well. I was going to say the teacher that's posting already has this natural insight into the way that you run your studio and your business. And that's not to say that getting an outsider, and by an outsider I mean a local company or that's their profession to do it. It just might take a little bit more to kind of feel like they are speaking the way that you would normally speak in your business.
Yes.
So it does, have some benefits.
So probably one of the big things for me is how fast it changes and the trends and trying to keep up. I personally find that quite overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Can you let us know what's trending at the moment and how you stay on top of it and how you measure that as well?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess there's a few parts to that question. So I'll just say, how do I stay on top of it? Honest answer is sometimes I don't. Like sometimes I still miss something and I'm like, oh, bother. But what I try and do is join a couple of newsletters or Facebook groups that are industry specific with social media and know that they will keep me up to date. The creator of Instagram goes live about once a week, once a fortnight, whenever there's something new. So whenever I just turn my notifications on for him as well. I'm not the creator, I think he's just like the CEO. Yeah. So he goes live and talks about XYZ. And sometimes I don't even listen, but the title of the live video makes me go, okay, well, I need to look that up in the next day or so.
Yeah.
So I would just say, join a mailing list or two, and potentially follow a couple of social media experts just to kind of give yourself the heads up that it's happening. Or again, if you're hiring someone in your business, you should and could be able to expect them to stay up to date, and you might just have a conversation with them. Like my social media manager, who's my marketing manager, often she will tell me, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen that? And I'm like, oh, cool. No, that's really great because, again, I don't have to be as on top of it anymore. But then sometimes, I'll be just, researching, reading, and I'm like, oh, wow, I haven't seen this. And I'll share it with her. And she's like, oh, cool. I haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
So you do kind of have to be on top of it. But I guess at the end of the day, if you miss it a little bit, you will figure it out. And I think that touches on our next point because you'll start to see something missing in your results. And that often is a red flag that you've missed something and maybe need to make a pivot or a change in your strategy.
Okay. Yeah. That's a really valid point. And it sort of leads to my next question of, is there a specific audience that you're targeting when you create your content for your studio? Are you talking to the parents? Are you trying to...
Yes.
Is your goal
trying
to get, new students? How do you focus your strategy?
So I guess the tricky thing is in our industry and in our studios is that we do have kind of a split target because we have the parents that pay for the classes, that drive them to the classes, that pick the classes. And then we have the other little customers that attend that we want to create that community with and we want them to feel connected to our studios.
Yeah.
So we do have this split demo, reach that we have to do where it would be different for us in our coaching businesses. I'm just talking to studio owners.
Yes.
Not them and their children.
Yeah.
So I can really target that. So all that you need to do is that when you're doing your content planning, you just need to think about content as in buckets. So, there will be a group of posts that go out that you're targeting to the students. So it might be stretching techniques. It might be reminding them that a certain event's coming up, showing photos or improvements, which their parents like to see anyway, It makes them feel good. And then we're reaching out to the parents about the other benefits of dance. Yes, we want them to be flexy and bendy and have this good technique, but what other things is it teaching them? The confidence, all of those values that come into your studio, you should really amplify them. And then we're also talking about our products and services in general for the potential new client who's coming across us. So we have to kind of think about that as well. But I would say look at your content in different buckets or different columns and create and plan within that, and then just kind of mix it up, one from each every day or every second day, depending. Like if you're going from posting once a month, posting every 3 days is a massive improvement on that. Yeah. But if you're posting every week, posting every 2 days might be an improvement. And the more consistent you are and the more you post, you are going to see benefits as a result, but it is more effort, more time, or more money. There really is the trade-off.
Yeah. And I know for you have separate accounts for different, your babies.
Yes,
your preschoolers have their own page.
Yes.
And then your main school has its own page. Do you feel that that's beneficial? And is it too much to manage if that's not your first priority?
So I would say my first recommendation is don't do it unless you have someone helping you. Just have one for now.
Yeah.
Just do the one and do it well. And, you could show kind of your different levels and age groups and branding. Why we split it is, again, in my opinion, and you might disagree, the parent of a preschooler, I'm talking to them in a much different way than I'm talking to the parent of a primary school or a senior child.
Yes.
In my opinion. I also had different goals with my business and those businesses separately. So I wanted to take my preschool program into, childcare centres and being out a little bit more, where Dance Energy, the big school, we have more physical premises, and then we do a couple of schools. So I had different goals. So for me, the best way to control that and explore that and kind of niche the branding was to have split accounts. And I kind of reasoned it that I was already going to be creating content for them both anyhow, and I'm just sharing them in different ways.
And you vibe off it.
And I do, yeah. And so, and that's a big thing for us. And, but I might change. And if the algorithm changes again, it might not be worth it.
Yeah.
And that's something that you need to reevaluate again, checking in with your metrics, checking in with your team. And you're not going to ever get, I guess, a specific return on investment financially per hour with your social media managers and stuff. But you'll be able to see overall if there's like a growth factor.
Yeah. I think in a way you can, because I know for me, for any new business I'm looking at buying, I will, first thing I do, or if a new teacher sends me their resume, the first thing I do is I jump straight onto social media and I have a look at the photos. I get a feel for their lifestyle, and they're choosing to portray what they want, and and then it's clearly up to me. It's like, okay, should I bring this teacher in for an interview or not? And I'm sure parents, particularly of young kids now, would do that all the time. Preschool, swimming lessons, gymnastics, and
always.
So if you're offering that, surely that would be a benefit to your parents, getting that feel to know what they're getting.
I think so, definitely. But again, it's only beneficial if you can maintain it. So don't start it if it's not something you can keep up with.
Yeah, true.
That's sort of at the end of the day. If you already feel like you're at capacity, adding another social channel is just going to be silly.
Yeah. And then it goes back to get your ducks in a line first before you can grow. Well, I guess then we should probably talk about what's trending right now.
Yes.
So we're talking July 2022.
Oh my God,
next week's probably going to be different. But for today, what's happening? Where should we be focusing our time and attention?
Reels and video content. It's basically what Facebook and Instagram want. And again, if you're on TikTok, that is huge video content. One thing is that the cross-posting between TikTok and Instagram is not where it's at. They're smart enough to see if you're posting to both, and you will be penalized. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Penalized as a result, which is annoying. But it makes sense if you think it really practically. Like each of those platforms, they want people to stay on their platforms. So they want the content to be fresh and new and engaging and exciting. And if we are kind of cheapening that experience by sharing the same thing across everything, people are likely to flick pie, and so they're not able to advertise to those people as much at the end of the day. That's sort of what the whole shtick is. So if you can create new content on all of those platforms, well, fabulous. But if you can't, again, your strategy might be like one post a week on one, or you might just focus on TikTok or Instagram, wherever you think your people are hanging out the most.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not sure, I would just say ask your parents and your students, where are you hanging out? TikTok, Instagram, whatever. But basically, in general, across the board, video content is doing so much better than like still photos right now. So I think it's just about switching the way that we are planning our content. So instead of like, if you're listening, this is an audio medium, Jen and I are sitting on a couch now, and instead of us just taking like a photo and being like, geez, look at us recording our podcast, I would take a little video potentially of the scene that we're in and post that as a reel. It might be 5 seconds long.
Yeah.
But that is going to get more organic reach than a photo in most cases. Some cases, a photo is still going to do really well, and it's good to kind of mix it up because you probably already have some gorgeous photos that you can use. But it's just about switching kind of the way we're thinking about video content and the strategy behind it.
And so do you have any points for studio owners who might be unsure exactly what type of content to put on a video? Like, is there
Definitely.
5 main things that they could do? 3?
I don't know. I was like, I've never added it up. But I guess a couple of things is that like Reels and TikTok and all of those, the organic kind of behind the scenes content is doing really well at the moment. Mm-hmm. So when Reels first came around, there was a lot of like, the pointing, like I did it, like, look at the 3 things that you can do. Like, and again, there's nothing wrong with it. But people are just sort of going away from that now. So it's a lot more like, come with me on a day as a dance studio owner. Little clips from your day, having your coffee on your laptop, teaching your classes, talking with a parent, rocking your baby to sleep, eating your dinner, like whatever. People like to see behind the scenes of business owners, and particularly in maybe industries where, they don't have that insight. So it's exciting. For us, it's like, oh, it's another day. But for someone else, they're like, oh my God, how cool. They get to go to all those different places. Look how varied their day is.
Yeah.
So some people it's really, really exciting. Excuse me. But other than that, one thing I always tell studio owners, and something that people often shy away from, is getting your face there. Yeah. Whether that be talking to camera, if you're feeling confident to do that, sharing what's coming up at the studio, the benefits of going to dance, like kind of telling parents how clever they were for picking you.
Yeah.
Or again, if that's not something you feel confident with yet, it could be having your face again, like in the studio, like waving, and then you might have some text over it.
Yeah. Until
you feel confident to go live or to do a recording, basically.
And that really is common sense. And I think if you, for me myself, if I'm in bed and I'm scrolling through, I love stories myself, and I don't. I'm watching people make dinner. And
I love it.
Yeah. So where I think my life's so boring and no one would want to see what I'm doing, I know for myself, I love watching what other people are doing. Maybe that's weird. I don't know.
I think it's human nature. Like we just like to, and also we like to see things through to the end.
Yeah.
So if you start watching someone like chopping up a carrot, you're like, what they're going to do with that carrot? I better check. Like, are they going to saute it? Are they going to eat it raw? Like, you want to know. It's like curiosity. And the same thing can be applied in our businesses.
And it's building trust, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And connection, which as dance studio owners and teachers, that's
pivotal.
That's exactly what we're doing. We want them to trust us and, be confident that they're going to send their child and they're going to be safe and happy. So
yeah, definitely. And I think just to wrap that up, at the end of the day, sometimes people feel like they're wasting, in quote marks, all this time on social media. And obviously there is times when you're just scrolling, you're not actually being efficient. So review that. But it is the way that we are moving in society. You have to kind of be on social media to be relevant and to be in the game, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, being across the trends and things, it's important. So you're not wasting your time creating really long copy when that's sort of not the trend anymore. So I know some people are like, I just can't, I'm so over it. But
you just have to.
It's just really important. Or again, to build yourself up to a point where you have the means to hire someone else to care about it.
Yeah. Or be okay with not growing.
Yeah. Or
So
if you're
if you
just
don't
if you're happy with your, say you have 50 or 100 kids and that's what you want, that's your capacity, you do not have to be on socials then.
Yeah.
You might just want to post, once a week, once a fortnight, for that connection piece and for the parents to feel somewhat across or engaged or reminded about what you're doing. But yeah, but there's a different strategy. So really coming back to, why it is you're doing what you're doing and what the intention is behind it, and then move forward from there.
Yeah, that's brilliant. You are brilliant. You're a gun, I tell you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining me today. And
I'm very honoured to be your
my
first
interview.
guest.
Thank you. Where can people find you?
Again, you can listen to my podcast, Assemble Dance Studio Coaching Podcast, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Assemble Dance Studio Coaching.
Fantastic. Well, it's worth it, I can tell you, and her branding is amazing. So definitely jump on, follow Claire if you don't already. And I thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I will catch you next week on the Dance Studio Empire podcast.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dance Studio Empire. If you enjoyed it, please share it on your stories on Instagram and be sure to tag me at Dance Teacher Central so I can say thank you. And if you really want to support me and the show, I'd absolutely love for you to leave a rating or review. For all the latest from me, you can follow me at Dance Teacher Central on Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to tune in next week for more strategies and tips to ensure you are building your dance studio empire.